The tunnel. The Barnett government's multi-million-dollar waterfront vanity project involves the destruction of Riverside Drive as a major east-west access and tourism road, and will force traffic to use surrounding roads such as Thomas Road, Mill Point Road, and of course the Graham Farmer Freeway. Knowing full well the chaos that is coming, Barnett, Buswell and Days are going to convert the tunnel from 2 lanes to 3 by removing the emergency lanes. Perth currently has one of the world's safest and best practice tunnels. The Barnett government plans to destroy a major safety factor by removing those emergency lanes. The City Gatekeepers have made this video to show the public what 3 lanes will actually be like. As you can see, there is room for 3 vehicles if you use the emergency lane. We've used a small car, a small van and a normal sedan. However, the 2 cars are travelling very close to the tunnel walls. You can imagine how little room for error there will be when large vehicles such as semi-trailers are passing through. Safety margins are reduced to critical. Why do it?
One of the things that we were trying to do tonight was to prove a point. And over the last 12 months, the government's put out a lot of propaganda about what will and what won't happen on the waterfront project. The latest one, probably the worst one they're talking about, is that the traffic impact of cutting Riverside Drive won't make such an impact on the city. They don't say that it won't, but they don't actually willingly state that it's going to be a problem. So we keep providing people with information to make decisions about the waterfront. So what we did tonight was to do this test, and it proves the point, at least from our point of view, how difficult it is to use the tunnel with 3 lanes. Now, the report that the government has says that the 3-lane version of the tunnel is not going to work. And the government's been sitting on that since April, since it actually started the project. So it has started this project knowing that the 3-lane option is not going to solve the problem with cutting Riverside Drive. So it's actually developing the project on a lie. And it sometimes takes an act like this to prove to the people that this is actually going to be the consequence.
I'm a practicing architect, and I've been involved with this growth of the waterfront development since it began as an observer, and my concerns remain about the impact the closing Riverside Drive would have on the through traffic in Perth. Tonight, which is a Thursday night, 9 p.m, I guess a lot of people are still going back home after a night out, and driving at around 40 kilometers an hour in the tunnel, it was obvious to me that in no time there was a big clog up behind me. What we did do is do an experiment, kind of block the road driving at that speed, and in a matter of minutes there was a backlog of traffic, thick, and an expression of frustration for everybody behind me. I'm here in the hope that that whole part of the project can be reconsidered in the fact that we still require, rather than funding everything, the traffic into the tunnels, where the issue remains not just to do with the flow of the traffic, but what happens at these points where everybody will be converging to on either side of the traffic. Let's have some answers to that. Let's find some solutions to that. And I believe that the solution still remains of continuing Riverside Drive in some form, not in the way it's been designed now.
What we wanted to prove tonight was to the people of Perth just how awkward it was going to be in that tunnel when they make it 3 lanes. And as people can see if they look at the video, how narrow it is. There's not a lot of room there. If you could imagine, we just had a small truck tonight and one normal sized large car and a small car. If you had, say, 2 trucks beside each other, or 1 truck, a couple of SUVs, there is no room for error, no room for mistake. And if you think about big trucks, they've got a limited visibility, especially on their left-hand side. Then you're going to have to stop trucks moving over because they won't be able to see. Now, we came through there just on 40 kilometres an hour. And at present, the speed limit in that tunnel is 80 kilometres an hour. They're going to have to restrict that speed limit. They can't let cars go through there at 80 kilometres an hour if they make it 3 lanes. There is no way. What that comes down to is being dangerous. There's no emergency lane. If something happens, and there are a lot of accidents in that tunnel, thankfully most of them are not injured accidents, but most of them, I'm told, are about $3,500 worth of damage to each vehicle when it happens, and it happens constantly. There's been 3 in the last month. So no emergency lane, you can't get people in there to get anything out. At the moment they can. They get a tow truck in, they quickly remove whatever's happened, and most people are not aware there's been an accident. But when that's made into 3 lanes, that's not going to happen. And look at the time, 9:30 at night, constant traffic. It never stops. It's a Thursday night. So that tunnel is going to be chock-a-block, night and day. Maybe 3 in the morning on a Sunday morning it won't be, but that's the only time. It's a disaster waiting to happen. And you heard all the traffic getting impatient at 40 kilometres an hour, getting impatient at 3 lanes. It comes in from 3 lanes with an extra lane coming in from the east. It's just a nightmare. And this should not happen. It cannot happen. That tunnel should be 2 lanes either way and remain safe. With all this government talking about road safety, you have just seen what it's like, what it's going to be like for everybody night and day. That is a disgrace. Thank you.
With a spiralling road toll already at an all-time high, Barnett, Buswell and Days plan to make our road system even more dangerous and chaotic, all for the sake of Barnett's Waterfront vanity project. The madness of cutting Riverside Drive and the dangerous removal of emergency lanes in the tunnel has to stop. We must make our Parliament accountable to the people once again, not political parties. Make March the 9th Independence Day. Vote independence. Max Hipkins for Nedlands, Kevin Morgan for Cottesloe, Wayne Monks for Churchlands, and Greg Ross for Kalamunda. Written and authorised by Greg Ross, spoken by Greg Ross, Dr. Lindley Latin and Sasha Rivanovich.